Hi there, this is Tom Lee. I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Fundstrat Capital and the lead portfolio manager for Fundstrat's U.S. Large Cap Granny Shots ETF, ticker GRNY. This is our update for the week of October 10th. First, I want to give some particulars. As of October 10th, the price of Granny Shots was 24.73 and total assets were 3.1 billion. Incidentally, Granny Shots last week crossed an important threshold, reaching 3 billion in assets under management after 11 months. Uh, Thank you very much for supporting us, because those who are watching this video I know are holders of Granny, and we continue to work hard for you. So far, so good. Granny Shots is up 26.54% year to date, and that's beating the S&P 500. So over the past week, Granny gained 2.43% compared to 1.2 for the S&P, and that's relative performance of 121 basis points. Year to date, Granny Shots is up 28% compared to a 15.7% gain for the S&P, or roughly 1,200 basis points of outperformance for Granny. So let me do some macro because there's been some turmoil in markets lately. It all started with Friday, October 10th, when President Trump posted this very long post on Truth Social. And there he was talking about his concerns about actions taken by China and what he called export controls. And he was going to respond with a massive increase of tariffs. Now, that happened at 11 a.m. on Friday. And after that, the VIX spiked more than 30%. In fact, that was the 39th highest ever surge in the VIX, so it's unusual, and the highest one-day jump since December 18th, 2024. Now, the markets fell 2.7%, so it was a bad day, but the volatility is what I've been focused on. And then at 4:50 p.m. Friday, President Trump took actions and imposed a 100% tariff on China. Now, that caused a huge downturn in futures quickly during that short window. And crypto markets, which trade over the weekend, underwent a massive, massive sell-off. In fact, it triggered what is expected to be one of the largest ever one-day liquidations, the largest really since 2018 and 2021. And in 2021, that had to do with FTX. Um, to give you an idea, someone posted this on Twitter that outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which held up well, look at things like SUI, um, or Cardano, which went from 80 cents to 30 cents. SUI went from $3.40 to 56 cents. So clearly a huge liquidation. But then by Sunday evening, President Trump said, "Don't worry about China. All will be fine." So in some ways, I guess that liquidation and turmoil over the weekend looks like it's largely going to reverse as we move through October. So that gets us to this point, which is that when VIX spikes happen, they usually happen at the lows. Now take a look here at the upper half of this chart is the S&P over the past year, and the bottom half is the VIX one-day percent changes. And as we highlight here, when you see these spikes in the VIX, one-day spikes, they usually happen at the low. So I think that's the case again. And in fact, the numbers prove this out, that if you look at the instances, the 38 instances when the VIX has surged more than 30% in one day, and then the median forward returns, you can see that 1 month later, the median gains roughly 3%. That implies a 200-point gain for the S&P by mid-November. Okay, back to all-time high. So we would be buying the dip. And in general, we think October and the rest of the year has seasonal tailwinds. Basically, between October and year end, we should expect the S&P to gain around 4%. That implies 7,000. But as we've talked about before, because the Fed's been on pause all year and then they're cutting in September, that's just like 1998 and 2024. And the S&P did even better into year end, up 14%. So I think 7,000 is just the base case. And as for Granny stock, individual stock performance, the top 5 performers over the past week were AMD, Lam Research, Strategy.com, KLA-10 core, and Robinhood markets. A lot of this is just AI again. And what helped AMD was the OpenAI strategic partnership where OpenAI was going to take up to a 10% stake. That caused AMD to surge 20% and reach an all-time high. We're happy about that. Now, for those who think we're in an AI bubble, just keep in mind a chart I've produced in the past. The most important company to watch is NVIDIA, and it's trading at 27 times forward earnings. Okay. It's got a lower multiple than Costco, which is at 48 times, and at Walmart, which is 34 times. Okay. And equally important that if you go back to 1998, September 98, which is when the Fed was on and then cut in September, Cisco was the same stock then that NVIDIA is today, and it was trading at 56 forward earnings. Look at its PE. In a year and a half, it went to 210 times earnings, a 4x increase in its PE multiple. Okay, that's what I would say is valuations where you can be concerned about valuations. Now, the bottom 5 stocks over the past week were American Express, Bank of New York, Netflix, Meta, and Live Nation. And as far as themes go, the best performing theme was global labor suppliers, led by AMD, followed by Style Tilt. That's it for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.